Thank you. Thank you, Mr. McGovern. Mr. Roy, you are recognized.
I thank the chair. Mr. Cole, is it true that the bill in front of us, that is the package of 5 of the appropriations bills plus the 14-day CR for Homeland, is appropriating at a level that is less than our current level of funding?
Correct. If you look at all 12 bills, yes.
Right, so it would yield a result in total, pending the resolution of the full year's Homeland bill, that would be a reduction in spending year over year, putting aside some of the math quirks and how we do accounting, but year over year from 25 to 26.
That's correct. And just for the record, the Homeland bill that this body passed, that the House passed, actually reduced Homeland spending by $600 million. A CR actually restores that since we're continuing the status quo. So, but your point's correct. Yeah, this is the second year in a row that we've effectively spent less money than was projected at the beginning of the year, less money than we did the year before.
Is it also true that we have, again, in general terms, not getting to the dollar to the penny, over the last 3 fiscal years, had spending, discretionary spending, stay relatively flat?
That's correct.
For 3 consecutive fiscal years?
That's correct.
Is that a normal occurrence in this town?
No, normally discretionary spending goes up by 3 to 5% a year, sometimes more. And over a 10-year budget window, that's a lot of money. I mean, literally, the savings the last couple of years probably amount to something like $500 billion over a 10-year by just simply holding the line. You let revenue catch up with expenditures. So, yeah, there's no question fiscally this helps correct the course. But again, and you and I have had this discussion often, the main drivers there are the mandatory spending, entitlement spending, whatever you want to use. That's 70+% of the federal budget. Our appropriated money is only about 26% or so of all federal spending. Actually, the Appropriations Committee historically has done a pretty good job of keeping the numbers intact, and an exceptionally good job over the last 3 years.
And is it not also true, without getting too much in the weeds, because this is about discretionary spending, that last summer we obviously passed the big beautiful bill, as has come to be known, that had a significant amount of reforms with respect to mandatory spending? It's a general matter, correct?
Absolutely true.
My point, generally speaking, here is whatever agreements, disagreements we have, that we have moved the needle, maybe not as far as I would do if I was just the sole decider, maybe farther than some people would choose, but we have moved the needle with respect to the overall spend of our government.
That's correct.
So the other point that I make, and I'll be mindful of the time that we use here, that I think merits observation, is we're going to have a debate, obviously, over the next 2 weeks when the Homeland bill expires. But I do want to remind people of the extent to which the men and women in ICE, Americans, people of all backgrounds, all economic backgrounds, they have been keeping dangerous individuals off of the streets of the United States.
Yes, in my view, that's correct.
And we just gloss over the people when you look at the people removed. For example, an individual here with convictions for homicide and robbery, admitted gang member that was removed from the streets of Minnesota, an individual that was involved with rape, an individual that was involved with assault, forgery, and obstruction, and arrest for drug possession, an individual that was involved with sexual assault and driving under the influence, an individual who is a convicted sex offender and convicted of sodomy on a 12-year-old girl, an individual with multiple arrests for driving under influence, larceny, assault, and making terrorist threats, an individual with aggravated assault with a weapon, larceny, assault, possession of cocaine, and robbery with a gun, an individual with possessions of a weapon and aggravated assault with a gun, an Asian boys gang member, an individual with fraud, identity theft, and driving under the influence, an individual with driving under the influence, aggravated assault and weapon assault, and possession of amphetamine. And I could go on and on and on. There's other individuals, multiple counts of credit card fraud, drug possession, controlled substance possession, and drug trafficking, 3 prior convictions for selling amphetamines, as well as convictions for assault, previously arrested for child cruelty and battery. These are individuals, and I'm only touching just the tip of the iceberg of the individuals that these men and women have been engaged in removing from the streets of the United States as a direct consequence of the policies of the previous administration, with wide open borders, putting individuals onto our streets and endangering the people that we represent. So right now what we have in front of us is a bill that will only fund Homeland. It will only fund the men and women that are doing that for 14 days. Now, we'll have a debate over the next 14 days about that, but I want to remind people why there are some people who are frustrated that we worked together on a bipartisan basis to produce legislation that funded all of government, and we passed that out last week, and that would carry forth what needs to be done to be able to secure the homeland of the United States, fund our men and women in uniform in the Department of War, fund the other priorities of government at flat spending. And now we're getting this back, and we're going to reduce Homeland spending for 2 weeks. To be clear, I'm going to be fighting like hell to ensure that we've got the resources necessary for the men and women of Border Patrol, ICE, and the other people at Homeland Security to secure this nation against violent criminals that are endangering the people of the United States. That is an absolute hard line in the sand. And we will have that battle over the next 2 weeks. Glad to have it. And we can have the battle over the SAVE Act because, yes, only citizens should vote. And we can have the battle over voter ID because of, yes, you should have voter identification to vote. These are common sense, 80% plus issues that poll highly on a bipartisan basis. So we will have those debates. And the final point I'll make that I will say credit to the House and on a bipartisan note, I am thankful that we included in this bill stopping the absurdity of the Senate getting a $500,000 sue and settle payday by being able to put that provision in there, and we had unanimous vote twice in the House to stop it. So I'm thankful to leadership in both chambers for including that in this bill. And with that, I'll yield back to the chair.
Thank you very much, Mr. Roy. Ms. Scanlon, you're recognized.